Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. This is live stream number 1155. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then throughout the month of February, I am actually taking first looks at board games and tabletop role-playing games. And tonight we got a really big shoe because we're going to dive on into original Adventures Reincarnated Volume 7. That's right. The Dark Tower edition for Dungeon Crawl Classics from Goodman Games. So it is the Dark Tower for DCC. We are not taking a look at the Dark Tower for 5e because those are two different slipcase sets. So we're looking at the Dungeon Crawl Classics edition a little bit later on in the show. Very nice. I know I'm excited to check it out. Should also mention, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. It's not on screen. One of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 10 whole minutes before you can take part in chat. Yet another way I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you check both those boxes and you want to say, howdy ho, Kyle. If you got a question, a comment, by all means, fire away. I'll do my very best to respond. First out the gate tonight is our good friend of the show, Sean O'Donnell. Gleeman RX is also a very good friend of the show, is also with us in chat, as is W. Forge, Kevin King, Semper Buffo, and Chuck Terrell. And I wouldn't be surprised if the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D is lurking in the shadows with her glittery banhammer, because yes, she is one of our chat moderators. She might end up being our only chat moderator tonight, because I do understand our pal, the Madman, is not joining us this evening. And our other chat moderator, Flaming Heron, sometimes pops in, sometimes doesn't. So there we go. W. Forge is asking, are we moderator free? Ha ha! Sarah D jumps in saying howdy. So there is your answer right there, W. Forge. Got to keep in mind, I'm always a moderator too. So the last time we had to boot somebody, which was like last week, amazingly enough, which is something we almost never do. It's either last week or week before that. I did the booting. I was like, boink, out. Sir D says, behave unless you want to be covered in glitter, and glitter is forever. I love that movie. That's just a great movie. Still holds up, too. It really does. All righty. So, like I said, we got a really big show ahead of us, so let's jump right on into the news, because Steamforged Games and Free League Publishing have released both of the new epic encounters, Ruins of Symborum, box sets. Here's the scoop. Actually, you know what? I think it's Symbaroum is how it's supposed to be pronounced. It's a fantasy place, right? I can pronounce it any way I want. But still, I know some people bust my chops because I say Symbaroum. Tabletop publishers, Steamforged Games and Free League Publishing have joined forces to bring Free League's award-winning dark fantasy role-playing game, Symbaroum, to Steamforged highly rated and 5e compatible Epic Encounters series. Steamforged has given Symbaroum the full Epic Encounters treatment, creating 2 brand new sets bursting with detailed miniatures, beautiful maps, and immersive encounters. These 2 new, easy-to-run sets are compatible with 5e and Free League's Symbaroum system. Collectively titled Epic Encounters, Ruins of Symbaroum, the sets, the Gem and the Barrow, and the Corrupted Colossus combine the strange beauty and gripping narratives of Symbaroum with the adventure in a box convenience. Yes, I said adventure in a box, not dick in a box, adventure in a box. Convenience of Epic Encounters, creating an immersive and accessible role-playing experience fans of either IP won't want to miss. Featured in Forbes as Blue Apron for Dungeons and Dragons. Like anybody gives a shit what Forbes would say about anything? Forbes is all just clickbait now. Anyway, Epic Encounters is a celebrated brand with over 20 sets already supplementing role-playing campaigns around the world. They are pretty sweet. I have shared videos of a few of them, including these 2 sets. But still, I'm not Forbes, so I don't get mentioned. This Symbaroum release marks Steamforged's first ever collaboration for the Epic Encounters range. The Symbaroum role-playing game, praised for its evocative setting and player-facing rules, launched in 2016 and is continuing to attract more and more players worldwide, not least since the release of the adaptation of the 5e rule set, which is called Ruins of Symbaroum. These Epic Encounters are available right now. You can order them from the Steamforged website, or you can look for them in retailers. The Gem and the Barrow carries an MSRP of $59.99. The Corrupted Colossus carries an MSRP of $49.99. And I gotta say, if you take a peek, I think it's episode 1135 is a live stream that we actually take a look at these 2 sets. We get some pretty good looks at the miniatures too. So if you are curious about these, by all means, check that live stream out. In fact, I would take a guess at this point in time, might be the only unboxings that are of those sets that are floating around. I don't know for sure, but I think they are. So by all means, check it out. Kathy Evans is popping on in to chat. Sean O'Donnell has got to see how many ways you can say it in one news piece. Symbaroum. 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 You know, maybe it is Symbaroum. I don't know. Be one thing if I was mispronouncing, Istanbul. Istanbul. It's not really a real place. Cleveland RX says they're going to look up 1135. They're going to test Jeff's memory. I know it's in the 1130s. I'll give you that much. So there. Sean O'Donnell says Forbes on tabletop role-playing games is like IGN on pork futures. Age of Adventures with us in chat, as is Daryl Arrett. Age of Adventure says, I've always found miniatures to be both a money sink and a storage nightmare. Yes, that is unfortunate, but it's such a fun hobby. If my eyesight was better, my close-up eyesight, was better. I would, I'd probably, well, what am I saying? I wouldn't paint minis again. Although I've got loads of paints. I have stored paints and I check on them from time to time and it's like, yeah, it's still okay. But sadly, I just don't have the time. That's the reality of it. Daryl says, boy, these sure look better than 80s minis. Oh gosh. The old Grenadier miniatures, wow, they were so bad. And the funny thing is, the Grenadier miniatures for that time were some of the best miniatures, but the earliest of the Grenadier box sets were not very good. And I think I've mentioned this before. When I first got into gaming back in the late 1970s, there was a hobby shop I went to. They sold miniatures and they would sell them individually, and they would have the boxed Grenadier. And they must have had some Grenadiers that were just sold individually. I don't think they were Rel Partha, as Chuck Trell mentions. That was another company that had a lot of minis. And I remember picking up miniatures for 35 cents for a halfling. You know, some of the bigger miniatures would be like $2.25. You know, stuff that nowadays you'd see like GW charging $14, something like that. All right, so Gleeman RX says it is 11:35. Nice, very nice. I thought it was right in that vicinity. I thought it was about 20 shows ago. So there you have it. There you have it. Relighter Gamer is with us. Says, since you're looking at Dark Tower, I thought I should mention that at Fanatical for $12.99, you get about 20 Lankmar adventures. Yes, that is the correct pronunciation, by the way. And the Dungeon Crawl Classic Core Rulebook all activates on DriveThruRPG. Well, interesting. So let's move on to our next news piece, because speaking of team-ups like Free League Publishing and Steamforged Games, Goodman Games, yes, we're talking about Goodman Games already, and Bundle of Holding have joined forces to bring you a Mutant Crawl Classics offer. And I've got the deets on the deal. Adventure! We've resurrected our September 2021 Mutant Crawl Classics bundle, featuring the post-apocalyptic science fantasy tabletop role-playing game of technology and triumph in a devastated future. Say that 5 times fast. Yes, you guessed it. Mutant Crawl Classics from Goodman Games. Whether you're a mutant, a seeker, a robot killer, or a stoic shaman guarding forgotten ancient sciences, there are treasures to be won in the taboo lands and the ruins of the ancients. Based on Goodman's Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game, Mutant Crawl Classics is a standalone game in the tradition of Gamma World and Metamorphosis Alpha. You have a new chance to activate your artifact and go adventuring like it's 1978. For just $7.95, you'll get all 3 titles in this revived offers starter collection. The retail value of $38 as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Mutant Crawl Classics core rulebook, along with the judges screen and the introductory adventure Hive of the Overmind. And if you pay more than the current threshold price of $18.36, sure has changed because that was earlier today, you'll level up and also get this Revival's entire bonus collection with 7 more titles worth an additional $49, including the supplement The Data Orb of Metakind, which is published as MCC Adventure number 8, and 6 full-length adventures that take your characters from level 0 nobodies to level 5. Seeking the Post-Humans, A Fallen Star for All, Incursion of the Ultra Dimension, The Evil of the Ancients, Blessings of the Vile Brotherhood, and the Apocalypse Arc. These savings will run through March 6th. Pretty sweet. You might recall I reviewed the core rulebook for Mutant Crawl Classics. Liked it, but I did not like it anywhere near as much as I did Dungeon Crawl Classics. I felt that it was a little watered down, that I want to say, well, obviously the page count is vastly different. I think Dungeon Crawl Classics is 200 pages longer? Something like that. But, I mean, like I said, I liked it. I thought it could have had a little bit more in it. It felt a little slim, but still pretty cool. Pretty cool. So nice offer available from Bundle of Holding. So Lovefist is with us, says, grab this one the first time around. Kevin King says, yep, they've got these two. Lots of fun in spite of typos and omissions. Chris Lundgren is popping on into chat, as is Bradley Thorpe. And I should mention Chris is with us with his cockatiel buddy. Bradley says, hey, Jeff, I wanted to tell you I've got nearly every single Pathfinder 2e book now. Only got a few more to go. The rest are getting delivered tomorrow. My God, somebody's really buying into that. Clement RX says, every book? Aren't there like 100 of those? Kevin King says there's a new Dungeon Crawl Classics 0 level funnel from Harley Stroh, which is coming out, the 7th Thrall of Cezricon. Cool. Very nice. If I remember right, I think Cezricon is sort of like the Dungeon Crawl Classics Mordenkainen. He's like a famous wizard. Lord Cost 2000 is joining us as well. So let's talk about yet another team up and another money-saving deal, because Pathfinder Kingmaker is part of the Humble Bundle offers that are currently going on. And this is actually a mixed media bundle. Here's some details. Elevate your Pathfinder campaigns. Gather your party of trusty friends for countless adventures with the latest Pathfinder bundle from Paizo Inc. Enhance your existing Pathfinder collection with new rulebooks, source books, and campaign resources. Highlights from the Pathfinder Kingmaker bundle include Pathfinder Kingmaker Enhanced Plus Edition and Pathfinder Kingmaker Campaign Guide. Get everything you need to embark on an epic high fantasy journey together and help support the World Central Kitchen with your purchase. Now, you can jump aboard for as little as $5. It's going to score you 10 items, including the remaster, 2nd edition beginner box, and the player's guide to Kingmaker, which was not a free PDF, it's an actual book. Or it can go all in for a minimum donation of $35. You'll score all 52 items, including the Enhanced Plus edition of the video game. So like I said, this is a mixed media offering here. There is, I think if you go $5 more, there is a physical book that's available, but the reality is it's for 1st edition Pathfinder, so I did not mention that. But as far as the PDFs here, you've got Pathfinder 2nd edition, you've got 1st edition, and it also includes the Kingmaker releases for 5e that came out. So this is a really, really rocking Pathfinder humble bundle for you to jump into. So Chris Lundgren asks, what is Kingmaker in regards to Pathfinder 2nd edition? It is a big, epic campaign. So it was for 1st edition, and essentially you start off as 1st level characters, and you will eventually rule over your own kingdom. So kind of cool. It is also a video game that came out a few years ago from Owlcat, and it's actually pretty good. I have played it. I will point out I have not finished it, but I have played it. And I didn't not finish it because it wasn't any good. It was just, shiny new thing popped up, and I was like, oh. A lot of reading. I will point out, lots of reading, way more reading involved than, say, even like Baldur's Gate 3. Yes. JD Sewell 3002 is with us in chat. Welcome. Kevin King says, another top-notch game. Video game was okay in their opinion, not as good as the campaign. The reality, too, is, I tell people this all the time, especially, we talked about this when I did the show about running role-playing games for video gamers. And it's kind of funny when you see a video game that's based on a role-playing game adventure like this, because there's so many things in the actual adventure campaign, the tabletop campaign, that's never going to make it into the video game. So, yes. Bradley Thorpe says you should review the Game Masters book series by Jeff Ashworth. Absolutely phenomenal third-party source material. Well, if Jeff would like to send me copies, I'm more than happy to review them. All right, moving right along. Raging Swan has released the latest in their Duchy of Ashlar setting. Here's what I know about Dunstone, Town on the Borderlands. Dunstone, Town on the Borderlands is perfect as a base for adventurers exploring the nearby wild hills and trackless forests. The Duchy of Ashlar is small and constrained. Always, the forces of evil and shadow press inwards upon its borders. If it were not for a stout few, death and darkness would have long ago overwhelmed the land. Dunstone was once Ashlar's northern bulwark. Now it is a dangerously sleepy and insular place. Wicked humanoids yet lurk in the dark forests and deep valleys of the surrounding hills. Abandoned mines and crumbled ruins stud the surroundings, calling with their siren song to bold adventurers. To the west lies the time-worn, oft-cursed ruin of the ancient nameless monastery. Not all dangers lurk without, though. Folk, both fair and foul, have plans for Dunstone. Change is coming to the town on the borderlands. This 55-page book presents an extended look at Dunstone, Town on the Borderlands. It comprises all 17 Dunstone-located Patreon-exclusive mini-e-ventures. Patreon-exclusive mini-e-ventures are never available for sale individually. Dunstone is designed for use with the Duchy of Ashlar mini-campaign setting, but it's easily inserted into almost any Borderland area. The 55-page softcover with PDF is available in 3 flavors. We have 5e, OSR, and system agnostic. It can be had over at DriveThruRPG for $14.45. Or if you want to just grab the PDF alone, you can do so for $7.45. Sweet. Honestly, I would like to have an opportunity to take a look at Raging Swan Press stuff. Always looks pretty good. Always looks like solid, old school styled adventuring, and they do a lot of like dungeon backdrops, kind of like sort of different sorts of extras and like decoration that you would put in your dungeons and wilderness and stuff like that. Kind of wild. So we shall find out. Chris Lundgren says, does anyone know what's going on with Alliance Distribution? I heard they're going bankrupt. Truth or rumor? Wrong. Diamond filed bankruptcy. Alliance was bought by somebody else. So don't think you really got anything to worry about as far as Alliance goes. And that is according to some folks who deal with Alliance all the time. And I was told this when I was over at Polar Vortex. So, because I was kind of curious too, what was cooking with them, because I know they had been bought by someone else prior to Diamond. Actually, it was just prior to Diamond filing bankruptcy. So, don't know. W4 says, wait a second. Have I been saying Duchy wrong all this time? I've heard it Duchy, tomato. Yes. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about our final news piece. Yeah, a little more Free League Publishing Symborum news. Yeah, I guess we're on a bit of a Symborum kick tonight. Let's see how many different ways I can pronounce it in this news piece. Because Free League Publishing has released Agrella, City of Eternal Euphoria. And I've got the lowdown on this adventure book. The festival season is drawing close in the City of Eternal Euphoria, and it will be a season like no other. On the surface, nothing seems out of the ordinary. Jester troops are honing their performances, brewers are refining their recipes, mask makers are sketching out the year's novelties, and among the population at large, excitement is rising every day. But nothing is as it should be. In reality, the threat against Agrella and its inhabitants has never been greater. The question is, will someone notice the lurking dangers in time to avert the looming catastrophe? This book features the campaign, The Outrage of Betrayed Brethren, with the adventures Intrigue, Assassination, and Chaos, offering the gaming group a tumultuous experience of how fantastically fearsome Agrella's festivals can be. A thorough overview of Agrella's history, activities, factions, and conflicts, meant to be read by both players and game masters. There are color maps of the city and a pair of adventure locations, in addition to over a dozen maps within the book. A large number of establishments where the player characters can eat, rest, party, search in archives, and visit local dignitaries. There's a chapter for the game master featuring hidden conspiracies and plot hooks that may be developed into exciting adventures. Note, this book does require access to Symborum's core rulebook, and it does not really come into its own without the Advanced Player's Guide, Game Master's Guide, and Monster Codex. The 176-page hardcover can be pre-ordered for $39.99. Or you can grab the PDF right now over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Yes. And I will mention this is in transit to me right now. I got an email from Free League Publishing saying that this had shipped. So I will be sharing this with you. Strangely enough, this is supposed to be an adventure campaign. And then there's a portion of the book that players are supposed to read. I don't know. So, it's kind of weird. For one, as Age of Adventure points out, my players don't read anything. Yep, I can understand that. Yeah. That's one reason I'm kind of like, so the players need to read this, huh? Most players, it's like twisting their arm to read a handout, let alone, a chapter about something. Looks interesting, though. Good to see some new Symborum releases. Things have been quiet for Free League Publishing as of late. I know they keep floating out emails about their upcoming Alien second edition but that's kind of it. John now says if it were a separate file or booklet, maybe, but not in the same book. Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right. All righty then. So that's it for the news tonight. Of course, I mentioned DriveThruRPG a few times. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always stop on by paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, that's good. And there are some folks out there who have stopped on by paypal.me/thegaminggang this month and made not small donations, such as Joshua Edwards, Lisa Watkins, our very own The Madman, Envision Internet Services, who I absolutely forget who in chat is affiliated with that. I think it might be Agile Monk. Maybe. And, of course, got to point out, without one of our friends of the show, or friends of the channel, or I guess maybe we'll just say friends of the Gaming Gang, we wouldn't be looking at Dark Tower tonight because they sent along the funds in order for me to order this. But they don't want me to reveal their identity. I did it once. And, Age of Adventure says, love that D&D coffee cup with a cork base. It is actually, we were talking about this earlier, Epic Encounters. So they sent some swag. They also sent me a cap, a beanie, which I've actually been wearing because it's pretty cold here. Chris Lundgren says they were trying to get their local store to carry Swords and Wizardry Revised, but they were hesitant to use Alliance. You got to realize a lot of store owners don't really, amazingly, you would think they would know how these things work, but I've run across comic book store owners who do not understand. They didn't understand how Diamond worked. And that was the distributor they were using to get their comics. So, I don't know. Then again, I mean, you know, some comic book store owners are just all about the comics. And others, like one that I know, it's, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about new stuff. It's all they care about the old stuff. You know, the really valuable stuff. But, you know, it's kind of like they need to have new issues just because. So, all righty. So as I mentioned, we got a big show tonight. So I am not going to share really any random musings. I will tomorrow because there was something I wanted to mention, but it's not, you know, super important. Just something that was kind of on my mind. I might even just forget about it between now and then. So tonight we are going to be diving on in and taking a look at Original Adventures Reincarnated Volume 7 Dark Tower for Dungeon Crawl Classics from Goodman Games. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
It's time to eat, and doesn't that look good? It's so good, too. That's what everyone says about a Temp Taste barbecue sandwich. And you'll agree once you taste Temp Taste barbecue. In fact, how about right now? It's the perfect time to try our barbecue sandwiches, made from flavorful, lean rounds of beef and covered with our delicious, spicy barbecue sauce. Temp Taste is indeed a taste treat, now being served at our refreshment center. So visit our refreshment center now. We have a complete line of goodies to please you. While you are there, try a Temp Taste barbecue sandwich. You'll love them.
Hungry? Hurry on back to the concession stand, cause it's Temp Taste barbecue time. The tempting barbecue that has the flavor everyone likes. We have them ready to go right now. How about popcorn, Temp Taste barbecue, and a cold drink so you can enjoy the show. We feature the best in food and fast service at all times.
I'm an M&M's plain chocolate center.
And I'm a roasted peanut.
And he's the M&M's candies man.
Who dunks M&M's?
Who dunks M&M's?
In chocolate, take a guess.
In chocolate, can you guess?
Who covers them in candy?
So there is no chocolate mess.
The M&M's man.
The M&M's man. The M&M's man. And he adds a lot of love to make it all taste good.
The milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
It's your present from Mr. Wilkins.
But I don't drink Wilkins instant coffee.
I know, he just wanted to be remembered.
Don't move. What are you gonna do, shoot me?
So they call him some of that, huh?
His real name is Joe Marshall. They call him Samurai. He speaks fluent Japanese.
Omaha, Yamaha, whatever his name is, right? Are you Fujiyama?
He got his martial arts training from the masters in Japan. He was brought over here from the police force in San Diego to fight us.
I want him dead. I want his head cut off and brought here. I want his head on this piano.
I will bring you his head and I will place it on your piano. And we'll see who the real samurai is.
Damn.
God damn you guys. All you've done is cost me bloodshed and mayhem.
Who hired you? Tell me who hired you to kill a cop.
Hey, look!
Police! Don't move, you're under arrest. Stop!
Hey, counselor. We'll see you in court.
Well, this one's dead too. Not captured alive.
Have you been circumcised? Well, your doctor must have cut a big portion of it off.
No, he was a good doctor. I'm telling these son of a bitches that if they continue killing our children, I'll have their stinking bodies in garbage bags and ship them back to Japan for fertilizer. Got it?
I feel like somebody stuck a big club up my ass, and it hurts. We've got to figure out a way to get it out of there.
Zoinks! Samurai Cop! I've never seen that movie. I have seen parts of it, though, because I actually remember certain parts of that trailer. But funny story. One of the actors, I don't know if it's the lead actor. I don't know if it's supposed to be his partner. But I guess if you watch the movie, they're acting like they're in a completely different movie. And I guess the actor, and I'm sure I'm probably using that term loosely here, was pissed at the director, once again using that term loosely, because the director would never do another take. It was one take done, right? Because they had like 10 cents as a budget, obviously. So he was getting pissed. So he started doing just whatever kind of like presentation he felt like, because he figured there's no way they're ever going to put this in the movie. And they did. And they did. So it's, I guess it's pretty crazy. All right, we got some other folks popping on into chat. We have got Mark Huxwell is with us again, as is Kevin R. Smith. And Warren Rawlings is in chat, as is Mini Chest. All right, very nice, very cool. All right, so tonight we are going to dive on in and take a first look at Original Adventures Reincarnated Volume 7, Dark Tower, from Goodman Games. We are looking at the Dungeon Crawl Classics edition. This slipcase set is available now. It's available for Dungeon Crawl Classics or 5e. The slipcase carries an MSRP of $109.99. It contains 3 volumes. If you want to grab just the PDFs, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $76.99. Should point out, if you purchase the slipcase set from Goodman Games, you will get the PDFs absolutely free. Now, I happen to got this copy from Amazon because, as I mentioned, a friend of the show provided the funds for me to purchase this so I could bring you this coverage. So first thing we got to point out is this is not a review copy. This did not come from Goodman Games. So once again, big thank you for the loyal viewer who provided the funds for me to pick this up. So we also got 3 volumes. We're not going to look at each and every page, so keep that in mind. And this is an adventure. So if you are a player and your game master is thinking of running this, or maybe they picked it up, they're going to run it, there's going to be some spoilers. So you've been warned, even though I don't really know about the extended Dark Tower, because the second volume does expand upon the original adventure. And then there's a third volume with more adventuring. So first thing, let's get the shrink wrap off of this. As far as the PDFs over on DriveThruRPG, I should also mention that you want to be careful. Is that scratched? Yes, of course. Good old Amazon. Gotta love Amazon. Although, I did save quite a bit. So I think I saved, what, $35 off the MSRP? Hey, speaking of Amazon, I did get something today that's not damaged, or at least it's not too damaged. Yes, I've got it. So stay tuned. I will have a review. So there you go. Warren Rollins asked, does this have anything to do with the Dark Tower board game from the early 1980s? The answer to that would be no. Not at all. An ancient evil has become rooted in the once peaceful village of Mitra's Fist. Thus, the sleepy mountain hamlet has become a focal point for mysterious disappearances and whispered tales of what lurks beneath the village. Would any group of heroes dare investigate the rumors, seek to right ancient wrongs, or even attempt to clash against the dark forces of a god? This is no quest for the weak of faith or strength. Below the cellars of Mitra's Fist are dungeons with foul enemies and cursed followers, but also strange allies and holy relics ready for discovery in the final battle against the forces of unspeakable evil. This slipcase set contains 3 volumes of DCC RPG adventure. Explore the complete Dark Tower adventure in the neighboring village of Mitra's Fist, plus additional wilderness adventures and information, and a new campaign arc to defeat the chosen sons of Set. Also included are scans of the original vintage publication and historical commentary. This is an homage to the classic adventure written by Jennell Jaquays and originally published in 1979. Untold riches, ultimate power, undying glory, and gruesome death can all be found in Dark Tower. Cool. So, first volume is, I believe, the original adventure. Man, I remember that artwork. I remember seeing Dark Tower in a game store. Yeah, it wasn't a hobby shop. I'd call it a game store. Way back in the day. And I remember I picked up one thing from Judges Guild. And it was kind of funny because Judges Guild had kind of a real cheap feel to it. It was kind of almost like pulp paper that they used. And it was not TSR. That is for certain. And now, we're talking early. We're talking probably 80, 81-ish. So I only bought one thing, and that was it. But I do remember Dark Tower because I remember this artwork. So there you go. That is what the original artwork looked like. So that is a reproduction. Something that's important for me to mention, if you are familiar with Judges Guild and things that had gone on not too long ago with Bob Breeslaw Jr. and Bob Breeslaw III. I'm not going to get into detail, but, well, not extended detail, but it was revealed that both of them were very, very anti-Semitic. And they were making their beliefs known all over the internet. And, I mean, we're talking, Nazi stuff. And we're not talking Nazi, oh, I don't agree with your politics, fascism. No, we're talking like real exterminate the Jews Nazi stuff. So it's important for you to know. This is owned by Goodman Games. So Dark Tower is owned by Goodman Games, as is, I believe, Caverns of Thracia, which I think is on the horizon, if I remember correctly. So it's important to keep in mind that none of the revenue that is generated by this is going to anybody affiliated with Judges Guild. Okay? Just letting you folks know. Because that would be something somebody be like, oh, I can't. And I mean, I would completely understand too. Be like, oh, there's no way I can support Judges Guild, not after, what I saw. It's like, no, don't worry. They don't have anything to do with this anymore. All right, so taking a peek here, this is going to be the first book, and this is where we're going to get a lot of the historical analysis. I love these portions of the original Adventures Reincarnated. It's just so cool to hear the history. Let's get this out of the way there. To hear the history, how things were put together. And yes, as Jack Hanks, who's joining us in chat, points out, Jennell Jaquays did pass away last year. Sorry to say. In fact, I think it was before this started on Kickstarter. Okay, so here's the actual adventure. Oh, hey, Eric Mona contributed to this. That's kind of cool. Eric Mona over at Paizo Inc. Dark Tower is an adventure that has always been very well regarded. So here we've got an expansion of the adventure here. So Chris Lundgren asked, do they include the original module as well? Yeah, we're going to get to in a second. So, and Kevin King also points out, yes. Hey, everybody, just want to ask, is this nice and sharp? Because I think our videos, our live videos have been a little bit sharper because of the new internet provider I've got. Well, had them for a couple of months now. And we're actually uploading at a 1440 rate as opposed to a 1080. So we've got that. And here we go. So we're going to get into the adventure itself. So this is a scan. So this is going to be a duplication of what the original adventure looked like. So here's our modern presentation, modern font, 2-column presentation there. And then, well, reality is that looks a bit nicer than what I remember some of the Judges Guild releases. This is the first in a series of dungeons and adventure scenarios designed and illustrated in entirety by Jennell Jaquays, to be used especially with TSR's new Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. By providing such alternate scenarios and guidelines, we are able to help enliven existing campaigns or show newcomers refereeing know-how. Ooh, refereeing, right? Not talking about dungeon masters. Our aids can save prospective referees much time in delineating the details of a fantasy world. And we got some designers' comments here. Yeah, this looks like, now it's starting to look like the Judges Guild I remember. Although this does look like a better presentation. So I guess the Judges Guild item I picked up must have been something that was really early Judges Guild, because it seriously looked like typewritten pages. No typesetting or anything like that. So everybody's saying that the picture is good. Sweet. Very nice. Set versus Mitra. In this scenario, the major theme is the opposition and battle between the forces worshiping the god of evil, Set, and lawful good deity, Mitra. To reflect this situation, clerics serving either one of these gods will gain certain bonuses. Very nice. So, of course, this is AD&D. Remember, I think that's what it said, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. Relighter Gamer says, I miss typewriters. I have one. Haven't used it in decades, but I do. I actually have the same typewriter that I used when I was in high school. Yes. So we've got the Sons of Set. The Sons of Set are the bastard offspring of the evil god Set and various mortals. The resulting creatures become a jumble of divine and mortal attributes, not to mention becoming conglomerations of various human and reptilian features. No two Sons of Set have the same appearance or abilities, for in uniting himself with men, Set made his offspring susceptible to chaos. Instead of being neutral evil like their sire, the Sons of Set became chaotic evil. There are a total of 4 chosen Sons of Set in existence. There will always be 4, because every time one of the chosen is killed, there is a lesser son promoted to take its place, and lesser Sons of Set are numerous. So we get the history, a little bit of information about the village of Mitra's Fist. W4 asks, electric or manual? It was electric. So yeah, it's an electric typewriter. I had used a manual typewriter, but then I, when I was later in high school, I got to start using my mom's electric typewriter. Kevin R. Smith says, weren't early Judges Guild releases basically a monthly newsletter that people subscribe to? Kevin might be right. That might be it. Relater says they love the sound of typewriters. They miss that sound. JD Soul 3002 says, man, how much does Arden Vool owe this adventure? I would take a guess that it probably owes this and Caverns of Thracia a lot. I think Caverns of Thracia is more along the lines of a mega dungeon than I think this is. So we're still looking at the village here. We've got some of the NPCs. The henchmen of mirth. So it looks like some of the guys that you could hire. There we go. There's dungeon level 1. And Jennell Jaquays, I'm not going to use the term because she did not like the term. So we're not going to mention it. But their design style of dungeons revolutionized how dungeons were created in role-playing games. So because prior to their design, which we're not really necessarily seeing, at least it doesn't appear to, maybe a couple spots. Dungeons tended to be like just real cut and dry. It'd be like, oh, okay, down this passage, then over here, and then they were all really self-contained. Whereas Jennell Jaquays' style would bring them back around. So, you'd start off in one area and make your way through and into other levels, and then the other levels would lead back up to the prior levels. And so, very nice. Basin of the Wondrous Water. In the center of this room is a 5-foot diameter basin containing a musty-smelling brackish water. The basin is made of silver, much tarnished. Value 200 gold pieces. 3 bloodstones of 100 gold pieces each are set into the rim. Drinking the water once will raise a character's prime requisite by 3 points. 18 maximum in any case for 12 turns. Only 12 turns. Drinking twice will lower that score permanently by a point. Oh, yeah. There you go. That's Kevin King says, I must be talking about Xandering the dungeon. Yeah, of course. Well, although it's not Xandering. And yes, Kevin King knows that. So very cool. So Kevin R. Smith says, Mayfair had the misfortune of starting their line after TSR figured out there was money in Adventures. I'll tell you what Mayfair did a really good job on, and we saw the recent Kickstarter was the DC role-playing game. They did yeoman's work on that. But as far as their D&D stuff, I don't remember ever looking at any of it. Because, of course, by that point in time, I had left D&D behind, right? I was already a Chaosium boy. So, all right, this is kind of cool. So here we've got the 4th level of the dungeon. But it's funny to see just how compact these keyed locations are. And it's pretty interesting because we have some, like here, formerly a Chapel of Mitra, the Room of Healing. There is a bit to the description of what's in there. but nothing like some of the excess filler that we get in some adventures. Sometimes, like nowadays, looking at modern adventures, you can tell when somebody's getting paid by the word, because it's like, okay, so here's the history of the last 100 years of this area, of this room, which none of this matters to the adventure that's going on. So, formerly a chapel of Mitra, the statue of the god has been desecrated and is hard to distinguish what it originally depicted. The bones of a long-dead gold dragon lie in a pile near the altar. The room smells as if much flesh had once rotted away here. The walls are scorched and blasted, and several of the bones are charred. There's a gray ooze in the northwest corner. Door is blocked by a wall of fire. A magic mouth will speak. To pass, one of you must fight and win. When a champion is chosen, he will suddenly find himself in an arena facing one of the stone men, somehow changed to flesh and armed in plate mail and shield, bearing a broadsword. The man will have full hit points for those dice as a fighter, 10 hit dice. The champion wins. He will find himself in room 411. The statues in the wall of fire will disappear until all pass by. If the champion loses, another must be chosen. I wonder what levels this was designed for. Certainly not early levels, I'll tell you that. Relighter says, I agree. I like concise writing. Don't need tons of fluff, even if it's 20 cents a word or some such. The Guardian of Clay. That's one of the things that's really interesting to look at, even with the old TSR adventures, just to see how much was packed into just a handful of pages. Now, when I was doing the series where we were kind of dissecting some of the old AD&D adventures and campaigns, it was kind of interesting because of, like, say, G1, Steading of the Hill Giant Chief, you were looking at a total of like 16 pages. And of those 16 pages, I think like 11 and a half were the adventure. So here we got some artwork to wrap up. Also, like how we've got these little sections here for your notes. Cool. So there you have it. That is a look at the original adventure. Here we've got the artwork. So this is for, I think this is the Sons of Set Volume 3. And I think this is Volume 2. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to find out in just a sec. No, I had them in the wrong order. So that is the artwork on Volume 2. So let's dive on into this. And this is the modern remaster for Dungeon Crawl Classics. And this is written by Chris Doyle. And we've got some additional writers, some of our credits here. So let's give some credit where credit is due real quick on this. As far as the other first volume, the credits were basically Jennell Jaquays. That was about it. So, Kevin King says, this came out the same year as Hidden Shrine of If you've played both, which would you say is better? Well, I certainly have not. So that is a question for chat. Chris Leonard points out, roll aids were pretty cool. Yes, those were from Mayfair Games. I remember going to Gen Con, and it was at Gen Con that most people found out that Mayfair had gone belly up. And it was kind of weird. You know, their owner was like, you know what? I'm going to retire. All right. So here's our introduction. Dark Tower is an award-winning adventure originally published in 1979 by Judges Guild. It was the first in a series of dungeon and adventure scenarios developed, designed, and illustrated entirely by Jennell Jaquays. There you go. That was the only credit we needed. We talked about it with the first volume. It was one of the first publications to utilize the recently released Advanced Dungeons & Dragons rulebooks, the Monster Manual, and the Player's Handbook. Dark Tower is also the only non-TSR adventure to make Dungeon Magazine's top 30 adventures of all time, published in 2004 to celebrate the 30th anniversary of D&D. This adventure module is an homage to that classic adventure and a Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game conversion. Suggested character levels. So to start off with, it looks as if it is 3rd level and then through 6th level. So those of you who aren't real familiar with Dungeon Crawl Classics, there are 10 levels to the characters. So essentially, 6th level is the equivalent of a 12th level character in D&D. So here we've got a breakdown of our important persona, the history of the Dark Tower as far as an adventure locale, not the actual adventure itself. Got a caravan. So here is Mitra's Fist. It's my understanding that this has actually been filled out more as an adventure campaign as opposed to just a solitary adventure or, a lengthy adventure, because we have some additional scenarios. We have some wilderness adventuring. And that might be what's in Volume 3. I know Volume 3's got more adventuring. This might be focusing more on just the original Dark Tower. Tessie Trekkie's with us in chat. Welcome aboard. We're taking a peek through. So we are already in the dungeon itself. Portal of Fear. This crypt is concealed by a secret door. It can be found with a successful DC 15 intelligence check. Triggering the door requires pulling down a nearby torch sconce in the north wall. The secret door reveals a short patch. The secret door reveals a short passage and then a 30-foot square crypt. The air is dry, stale, with a slight musky smell. Along the back wall is a sealed stone sarcophagus. This is another crypt, but it's not being used as such. The sarcophagus is sealed with a thin bead of once molten lead that has since hardened. Using a sharp implement, such as a dagger blade, the seal can be broken with about 1 turn of work. The sarcophagus is empty, but searching the bottom with a successful DC 13 intelligence check reveals a secret trap door. Oh, which actually has a shaft that leads down. So it's not a trap door with treasure. It's actually a trap door with a way to go to another area. All right, so we had dungeon level 2. Got some wandering monsters. Then we get into our keyed locations. It's looking cool. Like I said, I never had the original Dark Tower, so I am very interested in checking this out. As far as production quality, very nicely put together here. The paper is nice and thick, as you can see, obviously enough. It has a matte finish, not finished. All right, so let's skip a few more. We've got our different levels. So I wonder if this is going to be 4 levels or more, because there's a lot of book left. It looks like we got another location here. The White Tower of Mitra. So I'm not sure if that was part of the original adventure or not. Then we have the Dark Tower of Set. Ah, okay. So now we get into some of the wilderness stuff. So here we've got concluding the adventure. So that portion there was the remaster on the original adventure, it looks like. Then now we're going to get into some additional information about the area. So someone was just talking about, oh, there we go. JD Sewell 3002 says the Lankmar box set is phenomenal. I got to be honest, that was what I was hoping that Goodman Games would actually send for review, was Lankmar, but instead they had sent Dying Earth, which was cool. I liked it. I thought it was really nicely done, but I was like really hoping for the Lankmar. That's okay. So looks like we've got some more adventure locations. So we've got a Sphinx. The Secrets of the Sphinx is an adventure designed for use with Dungeon Crawl Classics. It's intended for a group of 4 to 6 characters of at least 5th level. There are numerous puzzles and traps, so the presence of at least 1 thief is recommended. Most of the challenges herein can't be solved with a strong sword arm. The adventure is set in the Red Moon Pass, a barren rocky trade pass bordering a sandy waste to the south and dry steppes to the north. This adventure can be used as a side adventure for a Dark Tower campaign and is designed to kick off the Sons of Set trilogy of adventures found in Volume 3, which we'll be taking a peek at in a minute. That's cool. So the player characters are going to be exploring the interior of a Sphinx. All righty. And we're going to move into some appendices, it looks like. So we got ready to play characters. And here are their character sheets. That's cool. Some new monsters. Creating the Sons of Set. More new monsters here. And it looks like they are divided by type. New men and magicians, caravan guards, nomads, mercenaries, smithy apprentice. Okay, I didn't see a magician in there, though. Unless maybe in the mercenaries. So NPCs. That's where we're going to get some additional background information. Now I can see here this artwork is a real mixed bag when we hit these NPCs. But it looks like at least all of them have images. Zor, the evil one. New equipment, relics, magic items, curses, diseases, and spells. Scarab of Insanity. This is a nondescript scarab appearing to be a valuable amulet, brooch, or scarab. It is typically wrought from gold and often set with several gems. When displayed with an action and a command word is issued, all other creatures within 10 feet of the bearer must make a successful DC 12 will save with a 1 die penalty. So it's going to move their save die down 1 step. Else suffer the effects of short-term madness for 2d3 rounds. The afflicted creature must roll on the table below at the start of its initiative count. Scarab can be used 3 times a day. So funny enough, here I was thinking, oh, it's cursed, so it's going to drive the owner insane, but I guess not. It is not. Glooming RX says they noticed a box warning on one of the pages, warning about possible total party kill opportunities. Yeah, that's usually the case with older adventures. Also, a lot of times with Dungeon Crawl Classics adventures, because Dungeon Crawl Classics is not one of those role-playing games where it's all about balancing encounters. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't have some balance, but it's not like, okay, so every encounter the players are going to have, it's not going to be too easy, not going to be too difficult. It's going to be just like that porridge, just right. So we've got some spells here. Here we've got our handouts. So we've got quite a few of them. Gotta say, it looks like you have got a lot of gaming content in this slipcase set. So here we have another expansion. It's Mitra's Bunker. And this is one of the appendices. That's kind of interesting. And are these patrons? Yeah, they are. New patrons. So it looks like it's Mitra and Set as far as the patrons there. Very cool. Empire of the East. The funny thing is, I haven't heard really anything about this. I haven't heard anything about Empire of the East from Goodman Games. So, Chris Lundgren says, balance sucks, says Deathbringer. Kevin King says they're pretty sure that Dungeon Crawl Classics number 105 is a tie-in to Dark Tower. I think you are right. Just like there is an additional, I think it's a bestiary. I think they're soft cover. There are 2 other releases, which I think are designed if you want like the magic spells and the monsters that are in this without picking this up. So it's like the new additions to like Dungeon Crawl Classics. And then I can't remember what the other release is, but it's also tied into Dark Tower. All right, so here's Volume 3, The Chosen Sons of Set. This is by Bob Brinkman. Little Doug Kovacs artwork right there. Nice. So let's see. Let's get some credit here. So it says the writers Chris Doyle, Jim Kelly, Scott Moore, Joe Rasso, and the Dungeon Crawl Classics conversion by Bob Brinkman. So is this more stuff that was released by Judges Guild? Maybe. Or are these mainly just encounters? I don't know. It's kind of weird because here it shows by Bob Brinkman. Yeah, okay. Now I know they're adventures, no doubt about that. So kind of weird. Relighter says no, they think this is a pure Goodman. I think so too. That's what I thought. So it's showing who the playtesters were. So it says it's a Dark Tower DCC adventure by Scott Moore. And the Dungeon Crawl Classics conversion is by Bob Brinkman. So it looks as if these are some adventures that were converted to use with Dark Tower. That's the vibe I am getting. And I'm going to take a guess is maybe about 140 pages. It looks like there's a good amount of content in this first adventure. I got another bookmark. So we got another adventure here. The Cursed Coils of Set by Joe Rasso. The Cursed Coils of Set is an adventure designed for use with, okay, we get it. It's Dungeon Crawl Classics. We know. Meant for a group of 4 to 6 established characters of 5th or 6th level. The adventure occurs in a remote town at the edge of a desert and has a distinctive Egyptian theme. This adventure can be used as part of a Dark Tower campaign. If used as such, the adventure occurs in the city of Mughad, found at the southeastern extent of the Gitrian Desert. It sits below hills that rise into the mountains of the Fifth Prince. The adventure is also easy to place in the Judges campaign. If the deity set does not occur in the Judges campaign, they can substitute a similar evil serpentine deity. Limonarx says they ordered their DCC rulebook as an add-on for their Thracia Kickstarter pledge. I guess I shouldn't have done that because I'm stuck waiting. Yep. There's the city there. So this looks like, is this an urban adventure? That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it might be. It might be kind of an urban adventure. Looks like there's a pyramid here, or a small pyramid at least. These volumes, I believe, are all available separately. Or at least, I think this one is. Pretty sure this one is. You don't have to get the slipcase set. It's like this is another adventure. Let's find another tale to get a little bit of a synopsis here. There we go. So this is the 5th adventure. I think it's the 5th. I think we started off chapter 1 with an adventure, didn't we? Was that like how to use the book? No, it was introduction. So there are 4 adventures total. The Sunken Temple of Set was converted for use with DCC. It's for 4 to 6 PCs of 3rd to 4th level. I wonder if we had an adventure for like 1st level characters to kind of build them up so they could take on Dark Tower. This adventure occurs in a barren, rocky, mountainous region bordering a sandy waste and a distinctive Egyptian theme. In a concerted effort to spread discord and evil among the mortal races, the god Set sired many bastard offspring by its dalliances among them. The result was a jumble of divine and mortal traits, but all of his children were hideous snake, reptilian, and humanoid crossbreeds. Each was a unique, twisted fiend, as Set steeped his creations in chaotic sorcery. These he called his sons. Although the sons may assume female form, they are still referred to as sons of Set. and he, him, and they were spread far and wide to disseminate their vile plots. So this looks like we've got some of his chosen sons, or a chosen son in this. It's like we've got some of the adventure taking place near a lake. I am intrigued. I got a lot of reading to do. Well, I have to go pet sit for my brother and his family this coming weekend. So I know what I'll be bringing. I got some books to get through. I am going to do my best to shoot some videos on Friday. So you will have some reviews coming out. One for the core book for Land of Eam, and hopefully Tales of Argosa. So it looks like this is our bestiary. So this is our appendices for this book. So we've got quite a few entries here, and it looks like they are different than the DCC converted Dark Tower book. New equipment, magic items, curses, diseases, and spells. So here's our new spells. Then we're into our handouts. All right. Very nice. Okay, so that is the Chosen Sons of Set. Then we have the DCC revamped Dark Tower, and then we've got the original Dark Tower classic AD&D adventure by Jennell Jaquays. So very cool. Very cool. So Relighter says Jeff's poor eyes. It's okay. It's no big deal. So this is a peek inside Original Adventures Reincarnated #7, Dark Tower from Goodman Games. Of course, we were looking at the Dungeon Crawl Classics edition. There is also a 5e edition. The slipcase carries an MSRP of $109.99, depending on, either or flavor. You can grab just the PDFs over at DriveThruRPG for $76.99. Once again, do want to mention, if you happen to order the slipcase set from Goodman Games, you will receive the PDFs absolutely free. Pretty sweet. Pretty nice. So I will be starting to read that sometime this week. And if you tuned in late, I did receive a copy of the Dungeons & Dragons 2024 Monster Manual. I shouldn't say I received a copy. I bought a copy. It arrived by way of Amazon today. Try to get a review out on this as soon as I possibly can. So we've got that. If you're curious what's happening on tomorrow's show, we are going to dive on in and take a look at the starter set for Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Games. This arrived in stores today. So this is available now. We're going to dive on in and take a peek at this on tomorrow's show. Next week, on Tuesday, we're going to take a look at the campaign builder, Dungeons and Ruins, from our friends over at Kobold Press. And we're also going to peek at Grit Fantasy role-playing game, and this is from Goblin Bot Studios. We double check. Pretty sure that's who it was. Goblin Bot Studios. It's got a little note in here too. I didn't realize that. Oh, sorry. It is Gnome Bot. Damn it. Gnome Bot Studios. So we'll be taking a look at this next week as well. I think we're also going to take a peek at a couple of zines for Dungeon Crawl Classics. So I will get into a bit more detail about that. Warren Rollins is asking, did I get the maps for Dungeons and Ruins? Yes, I did. So we will be taking a look at those as well. Sweet. So we got lots cooking. Lots cooking. So that's it for this time out. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, big tip of the cap to you, because not only were you keeping me company, keeping each other company as I'm flipping through pages and reading stuff, sharing the news, things like that. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the channel. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you like the video, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my upcoming review of Dungeons & Dragons 2024's Monster Manual. Yes. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang